Good morning, good morning, good morning. And as it's happened for the last couple of days, it appears that you are not Good morning, folks. I hope you can see me now. I do apologise for whatever reason. Our broadcast was interrupted there. I was kicked out of the studio. I had to restart my laptop there. So energy. We're here today to talk about energy with John. And here he is. I'm just going to bring him right in. So good morning, John.
Morning, Stephen.
I bet you were sitting there thinking, what the hell is going on?
I had my head up to the stove, got my coffee.
We're here now, which is the main thing, eh?
Yeah.
So, John, we have been speaking about energy for the last few weeks, which is a very, very fascinating, interesting subject. And if anybody is watching and you want to ask John any questions on energy, please fire those questions away. It's really important that you use the chat box in the comments, because obviously John can't answer your questions if you don't ask in the chat box. So please do ask away anything that you would like to know about energy, about the aura, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to pop that up. Ask John your questions on energy, the aura. John, you might be like, I don't know if I want their questions. So anything that you guys would like to know about energy in the aura. And interestingly, John, I wanted to kind of touch on the moon today, because obviously everything on our planet is energy. We are energy, the moon's energy, the universe is energy. And honestly, see, these last 3 nights, I have not slept very well at all. Obviously, there's been a full moon. So what's your thoughts on the moon and the universal cycles that we all go through when it relates to energy?
They're murder. I can totally relate to that, the not sleeping. So the past few nights, just like yourself, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're just wide awake.
Yeah.
And it's just the effect that it has on us. It's amazing.
So when we're speaking about like our energy field, our aura, essentially, how can that be affected by things like the planets and the moon and all of that stuff.
Yeah. When you think about it, when we're lucky enough to get a hot sunny day,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's so vibrant, everybody's wearing bright, beautiful colours, and then it starts to get dusk and everybody's calming down just a wee bit. So I find the moon is quite calming. And just for energy shifts that we might be going through, because we go through, as sensitives, we go through quite a lot of energy shifts, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems to be around about these periods when you've got your full moons and different things. A lot of folk are into their moons, so they'll put their water out, they'll put their crystals out,
Yeah.
just for recharging. So for our energy, I feel it's a bit of a recharge in there as well.
So sorry, John, on you go.
I have a friend who works in a care home
Mm-hmm.
for people with dementia, and they say that every time there's a full moon, these people just come alive.
Yeah.
They can't control them.
I think anybody who works in the field of nursing or mental health or whatever, you will know that when there's a full moon, everybody goes bananas.
Yeah.
And obviously the full moon it's past now. We're now into a new moon cycle. So the 27th was when it peaked, but we'll still have the effects of it afterwards as well. So I suppose it's like standing next to a big magnet, isn't it? Your energy is pulled and and then
Exactly. I tend to find for myself, my experience, I seem to get it for a couple of weeks before it settles down.
Yeah. It's really bugging me though, because like I am someone who needs their sleep. And see, just the fact that I've not had decent sleep, it's driving me insane, honestly. And I know we've spoke about this before, but see when we're like looking after our energy, would you say that the best things to do now, in my eyes, it would be, like have that wind down period, have a bath, don't drink coffee, and all of these things, are they good for your aura, your energy?
Yeah, I think any time you invest in yourself is good for your aura and your energy. It's just taking time to pamper yourself. Because I know lots of folk have got busy days, they've got kids, they're stressed out their boxes sometimes. But just taking that time just to invest, whether it is just a bath with candles round about it. I mean, I love nothing better than if I'm at my caravan and it's a full moon, so I'll sit outside with a chimney and just sit and take the energy to that. And the effect that has as well.
And how I was going to ask something there, and I've totally So I've seen firsthand when you and I have been working together how food and drink can absolutely change your aura. So we've done experiments before where I'll have eaten like something that's really good and see how it affects your energy, and then equally I'll have eaten something that's really shite like high in sugar, high in fat, and then see how it affects our energy. And it's amazing because I don't know if you remember this, but I remember I had a piece of cake. Now, cake for me is my Achilles heel. It's the one thing that makes me feel good. So that affected my aura, and it actually it was on the old system, and I'm sure that it had made my aura strength or whatever go out.
Yeah.
So it made me really relaxed and really, oh my God, I just love cake. So it's interesting how food can really change your energy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like I try to tell people everything, everybody, anything they come into contact, because it's constantly flowing. and we just don't see this one colour or two colours that people believe they are.
Yeah.
That it's constant. And it's when you think on it as well, I mean, I've talked about like psychology with colour as well and how the food industries use them. So all of a sudden we start to feel hungry, then we have what we want, and then our aura just explodes. And then there's the big come down after, we all want to sleep.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was speaking to someone a couple of weeks ago actually about, you know, the sweeties that you get, the little nerds. So back in the back in the 2000s, the early 2000s, when I was a really small boy, you know, maybe 2004 when I was about 3. Back then, there was, in fact, take it back maybe another 15 years, 20 years to when my parents were young in the 80s. Take it back to that point, and nerds used to be full of artificial colours and flavourings, and people were always like, oh my God, they'll make your kids go nuts. And I remember my mum and dad not letting us have them because of that reason. But actually, this person that I was speaking to, they were saying that they still make their children go nuts, even though they've removed, like, I think about 60% of the sugar that was in them. And it's interesting because they're very brightly coloured sweeties. So would you imagine, or do you think that it's the colour, perhaps, in the sweeties that changes?
Yeah, it's the same with Smarties. Smarties kids bonkers, and they're all bright colours as well.
And interestingly as well, they've removed a lot of the sugar content and artificial flavourings and preservatives that used to be in them as well, which is fascinating, isn't it? So it's really the kids are high on colour.
That is it.
And a bit of sugar, obviously, but essentially I think they would be more high on the colour than they are on the sugar. I think. That's my view on it. We've got a question here from Catherine, so I'm just going to jump over there to Catherine's question, and she's asking how. I'm imagining that she's saying, how do you clean your energy?
There's so many different rituals out there, and people have the aura cleansing showers. So they just go through the ritual of imagining that the shower's cleaning away all the dirty energy, and you watch it go down the sink, the plug hole kind of thing. Other folk will use their sage. Other folk use that's it.
This is actually Palo Santo, Holy Wood. So it's better than sage, I think.
Yeah.
So that's and you've got white sage, which looks like this. I've got it all in front of me here. It's great.
There's so much there. Even just taking that 15 minutes to meditate as well.
What about crystals as well? Do crystals help you clear your energy?
Yeah. Again, crystals was a thing that I wasn't into until I started experimenting with the system, and I'm thinking, these really work. So, yeah, it's getting the right crystal for you.
Yeah.
And you've got part of your energy that you want to clear off. I've not got a great knowledge of crystals, I just know that they work.
Do you know what worked really well for me when I remember when I had done my crystal practitioner's course, and I was always like you, John, you know, my craft was mediumship. So, you know, I never really thought about crystals until I experienced them. And I was actually at the Mind, Body and Soul Fair in Glasgow, and I was doing a talk on mediumship. And just before I was on, there was a lovely girl there who was Annie Lightheart. Her name was. Don't know if you've ever heard of her. Have you?
No, I've maybe met her, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well, Annie was there doing a talk on crystals, and I'd said to her, I was like, "Can I participate in your workshop?" And she was like, "Yeah, absolutely, as long as I can participate in yours." So we swapped anyway, and I'd sat there that day, and this you're talking maybe about 12 years ago, I think, maybe a wee bit longer than that. And she'd handed a bowl round the room with lots of crystals in it. So there was a small crystal in it, maybe about that size, and it was a piece of aventurine. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but I'd sat there with the aventurine in my hand, and she'd said, I want you to, because we all have lenses on the palms of our hands. Did you know that? It's like a little mini chakra. So it's a lens, and you should place your crystal on the lens in the palm of your hand. And that's how you connect with the energy of it. So I placed this crystal on the lens in the palm of my hand, closed my eyes, and I felt this surge of energy moving through my hand, up my arm, across my chest. And I'm like, what the frickin' hell is going on here? And then obviously I'd had a long discussion with her after it and decided to do my crystal practitioner's course. Anyway, I'll get to the point. Whilst I was doing my crystal practitioner's course, one of the girls had said that what she does was she put clear quartz wands around the hose of her shower. And she just got plumber's tape and wrapped it round the quartz. So there was like maybe 4 lengths of crystal going round the hose, like tied to the hose. And she said that her water was clearer after she had a shower. She felt absolutely fantastic. It was just the most amazing thing she'd ever done. And I'm like, right, okay, I need to try this. Tried it. My wife's like, what the hell are you doing? She's like, can you get the bloody crystals off the shower hose, please? I'm like, no, leave it there. But honestly, it really made me feel fantastic. And now I don't necessarily do that now, but I Reiki my shower, which again, it's all about, changing your energy, isn't it?
Absolutely,
yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I've never thought of putting it in the shower, but it's something to try, yeah.
People have crystals in their bath and everything, don't they? And it changes everything.
Yeah, you can understand. When I'm in Iceland and I do the hot tub there, and it's just all the natural minerals and things that are running through the water, and just the effect that it has on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Diane's asking, I'm interested in your, oh no, that's for me, in your term lens in the palm of your hand. Yeah, so on both of your hands, you have got a lens here and a lens here. A bit like I don't know if you've ever seen Iron Man. We've got these lenses like Iron Man has. So the lens on your left hand is the lens that can feel a crystal's energy. So what I'll ask you to do, if you want to do it, if you have a crystal in your house, which I'm sure many of you will have, just hold your left hand out and stretch your fingers as far as you can, and then place the crystal on that part, and then just sit there with it and close your eyes. And you'll feel the crystal's energy like you have never, ever felt before.
yeah. Part of the reason for that as well is we don't have a pulse in the palm of.
Exactly. And that has got a big thing to do with it, because what a lot of people do is they hold their crystal like that. So they hold their crystal with their fingers, and you've got a pulse in the end of your fingers and in your thumb. So squeezing your crystals in your hands, not a good thing to do. Holding it like that, you can really truly feel the crystal's energy without feeling the pulsating of your pulse.
Yeah.
If you've got high blood pressure, you make hold the crystal and really feel that boom, 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 boom. Be like, oh my God, I can feel it. You're not feeling it. You're feeling yourself.
Absolutely.
It changes everything, though, John. It really does.
It does. It's just, as you know yourself, once you get into the world of your own energy, it's just the things that you can do. You start to realise just how powerful a person you can be.
Yeah.
If you apply it.
Absolutely.
You can bounce it off walls, bounce it off people, throw people out your aura without them even realising that you're doing it.
It's funny because see these lenses in your hands. People might call them energy outlets or energy inlets or whatever you want to call them. Yeah. But if we're administering spiritual healing, we're basically channeling energy from the spirit world, and it moves out the palm of our hands. Yeah. If we're doing Reiki, for different people, I suppose Reiki works in different ways, but for me, it comes out these lenses in the palms of my hands. I can feel it really moving out of that part of my hands. Equally, I suppose we're a bit like an octopus, because when I touch people, I feel or sense lots of stuff with my hands. So I could shake hands with someone and really feel a lot. That's why I never, ever, ever shake hands with anybody.
Yeah.
And my mum's the same. My mum, the minute she shakes hands with people, she's, whoa! It's really interesting, isn't it? It's quite an intimate area of the body, I suppose, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's even if we meet somebody and we feel we want to give them healing, the first thing we want to do is put our hands on them.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can't impose yourself on people, so.
Aye, let me put my hands on you. But sometimes just that gentle gesture of like putting your hand on someone's back,
yeah,
that's sometimes a way of administering a bit of that healing energy, I suppose, isn't it?
It's if you're doing a demonstration of mediumship as well, you'll always see somebody giving you your energy and they'll sit with their hands.
Mm-hmm. I do it. I sit like this with my hands open. Like for my trainee mediums, I'll sit there and my hands are always open, so it's like I'm giving them my energy.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? And I think until you actually see that being measured on the system, you wouldn't really truly understand it until you can actually see it tangibly happening on the screen.
Yeah, it's amazing when you see it, and the app I've got with the system now, and you can measure the healer's energy coming from their hand.
Oh, can you? Oh no, you can, yeah, because we've done that, didn't we? Aye.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, eh? Because I remember, before when someone had asked about crystals, and you've got a big chunk of crystal. I don't know what it is actually. What is it that you've got?
I usually bring two. I've got
It's a big black one.
The big black one. Can't remember.
It sounds really rude, eh? It sounds like we're talking about anyway, I'm not even going to go there, but it was a dark looking crystal anyway, and I remember holding it in front of the body, and you could actually see the energy centers moving in a different direction. So you could really see them changing as the crystal was moving up and down the body.
Yeah. Again, that's why I like people just to do their own exercises with it as well.
Yeah.
Then people actually did think I was manipulating the system.
Yeah. And you're not.
No.
No. Because you can't manipulate it even if you wanted to.
Exactly. It's just people manipulating their own energy.
Yeah. And it's interesting when you use the when you use the different crystals to see the different effect that it has on your energy as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You find that some people say that, I'll just say, like rose quartz is for a certain area,
mhm.
but it's when they put it on that area, it's not where the balance is needed, so it might affect another energy center,
Yeah.
and they get a wee bit confused. So you're saying to them, well, that's where the wee bit of imbalance is. That's where it's needed.
Mhm.
So it's like everything else. It's exploring it all, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean,
And
obviously,
sorry.
you'll see a lot of guidance about crystals and colours and people's own thoughts and theories on it. And it's not to say they're wrong, but it's going exploring yourself and how all these things affect your own energy.
Mhm.
We're all different.
Yeah. What's really funny is people will say things like, "Oh, crystals, it's just a pretty stone," or "Sage, it's just a smelly stick. It smells like weed or whatever." Um, there's actually more to them. You know, like, so if you look at smoke, smoke is multi-dimensional. It
Yeah.
moves through all the dimensions that are around us. And when I
Mhm.
talk about dimensions, we are living in a 5D world. Is it? Is it a 5D world?
Yeah,
Um,
I've been told, yeah.
that's crazy. But there's 7 dimensions around us that we're not that
Mhm.
that scientists are aware of. So these 7 dimensions that are moving around us, that smoke's moving and it's clearing the energy within those 7 dimensions. So there's so much to the unseen world that people don't actually realise.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a wee bit like the Matrix.
It is. See, we're going down a rabbit hole with this, eh?
Oh,
Or we could potentially go down a rabbit hole with it. But it really is a fascinating subject, when you start to look at the unseen world, or the world that people don't see with their physical eyes,
yeah.
which is the world that you work in, John.
Yeah, it's amazing that I've only done it twice and get into a meditation with my eyes open and just seeing round about me just as pure energy.
Yeah.
It's only happened twice, but I know I've been shown that's just how it is.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second.
It's okay.
I'm lighting an incense stick because um the Palo Santo that I've been burning in the house, it smells like church. My wife got up this morning and she was like, "My God, the house smells like church." So I'm burning some dragon's blood just to take away the holy wood smell, or the Palo Santo smell. April's laughing there as well. She's Hollywood sniggers. And Diane is saying that she would love John to show me the energy coming from my hands while doing Reiki. Although I believe you can beam Reiki from your whole body, it would be great to see, though.
Yeah. Obviously, you can project it from your energy centers, just as Diane's saying, but it's when you see it, when you're working with the system, and you just see how it will start from the finger. Obviously, you'll see the palm of your hand, it pulses.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start to see round about the fingertips, and then certain areas of the hand as well.
And see if there was just say for argument's sake that there was someone who was quite skeptical of how our energy works, and they wanted to know, like, this system that you use, how does it work?
It's called an energy imaging system. So it works through a sensor. I've not even got it to hand that I can show. It works using a hand sensor. So when a person places their hand on the sensor, it measures skin temperature, it measures the electrodermal activity. That's when you touch something, you get static, with that running over the surface of your body. And it feeds it into the software, which then measures the various things. It measures how, let me see how your energy is distributed between your body, mind, and your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It'll tell me different things, how relaxed you are, how emotional you are, how stressed you are. There's just so many things in there. And just it portrays the energy around you in colour.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just reading into the colours and the different colour interpretations.
I'm just looking at electrodermal energy. It's quite fascinating when you look at it, though, isn't it?
Yeah. You hear people talking about when they touch anything electrical, it can knock it off, or it'll play about with electrics, and it's just the energy that you're producing in your body.
Yeah, I suppose like static energy is one of those things where like
Well, they tell us that if you could plug yourself into the means, you could keep your house lit up for a week with the energy that we all possess. Yeah.
Do you know what's really interesting is I was reading and it actually speaks about it in this article that I'm looking at. I'm not going to read any more, but see when someone's phone is plugged in, if your phone's plugged into the mains and you're holding your phone, texting or doing whatever, you are taking on the wattage into your body from the mains.
Yeah.
I was quite shocked by that, actually.
Mm.
So you shouldn't be doing that. You should not be holding your phone while it's plugged into the mains. Just so you know. Because it can seriously affect your electrodermal activity.
Yeah.
So, Diane, I'm going to book a session with John when we get back. Fantastic. So, John is at the shop the last Friday and first Friday of every month when we get back to normal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is Christ knows. Where are we? March, April. Might be May, might be June, might be July, whenever we can be back to normal. Yeah. And obviously John does clean down all of his equipment before and after he's got any clients in. So yeah. James is saying there, I always touch Nicole's ears when she does it. She hates it because you can hear and feel the vibrations. Expand on that, James. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. There's Zoe. Hello, Zoe. Zoe saying, hello, John. Lovely to see you.
Hi, Zoe. I've got your message. I'll get back to you later.
Yeah, I don't know what James is meaning by that. I always touch Nicole's ears when she does it. She hates it because you can hear and feel it. Is that possibly?
I'm thinking he's probably holding the phone while it's charged and touching his partner's ear.
Ah. Which is not always a good thing, is it?
No, and you would feel the vibration.
Yeah. So when we're looking at this unseen world, Yeah, when her phone is plugged in and she's holding it.
Yeah.
When we're looking at this unseen world, there's a lot of things going on, I suppose, around us in the air and the ether that we're not necessarily seeing. The signal coming from our phone, electricity pilings, all of that kind of stuff.
There's so much out there. And as you say, some of it we don't see, most of it we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
The only tiny wee bit of that we see is actually the light that produces the colour that we see. That's pretty much what the human eye can see.
Yeah.
Radio waves, microwaves. You said everybody's got phones nowadays, and that's all buzzing about over the top of us.
Salt lamps are particularly very good for that because salt lamps emit negative ions.
That's right.
Cancel out all of these things. So, I always say to everybody, having a salt lamp in every room of your house isn't a bad thing, purely and simply because it emits negative ions, which cancels positive ions that your electrical equipment gives out.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever tried? Actually, we should do that, John. Sit by a salt lamp and see how that affects the energy of the aura, because we've never actually done that, have we?
We've never done that, no. Yeah, I'm always looking for new experiments, so that's one to keep a hold of.
Why? Because see, in the shop we've got a big, massive salt lamp, and it's actually going to be. We're not going to be using it anymore in the shop because we've got new lighting going into the shop. Wait till you see the new lighting. Oh, so cool. But yeah, the new lighting's going into the shop because what's had to happen is, I might as well share it, but when I was in the shop 2 or 3 weeks ago, went in, switched on the electricity, and poof. Our electricity thing blew up. Got an electrician out, which is a very, very good friend of mine, and he's going to be doing all of the electrical works. And he's decided that he's got lots and lots of, because he specialises in LED lighting, so he's got lots of lighting at home that he's not using. And he's like, honestly, it'll give me a project to do through lockdown. Go and let me play in your shop. And I was like, absolutely, come and play all you want. So he's coming to use the lights that we've got and the lights that he's got, and he's going to do something really creative with the lighting in the shop. He showed me a wee example of it, and I'm like, wow.
Brilliant.
So it's going to make our salt lamp obsolete, so we can use that when you're back to play with.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I went down a leafy lane there, but
it'll change the whole energy in the shop again as well, though.
Yeah, again, lighting's a big thing, isn't it? When we look at lighting and how that affects our energy, we should really look at what we've got going on in the house.
Absolutely. I know I keep my coloured lamp here as well, so I've always got that at hand. Especially when my granddaughters come, I can just blast them with some blue light to calm them down.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because we're speaking to Susan about colour a couple of weeks ago, and we're speaking about like how different colours can really change your mood. So like red light, for instance, can make you quite angry and pissed off.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some people work in red rooms when they're, photographers that are doing old style photography, they'll work in the red light.
No.
So it's interesting. I would be interested to see how that would affect their energy, if they're crabbit buggers or if they're quite calm-filled people. Equally in the shop, we work in really low light, and it makes us all really calm and chilled.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Office environments where there's like lots of artificial white light, that's a very stressful environment for people.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, isn't
You
it?
tend to find a lot of people take sore heads, and that affects their eyesight as well
Yeah.
in that environment. Whereas you walk into your shop as it is now, and you can be stressed out your box, but you walk in and you just come right down.
I know. I'd love to black out the windows in the shop as well and just have it all dark way, but that's not a good thing.
No.
People go, oh my God, it's like coming into a different planet.
Yeah.
So I suppose you do need the natural light as well, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's that natural light that brings in all the thousands of colours that we see every day.
Mm. And what's your thoughts on that as well, John? Like, should people have bright homes with light, streaming in every day, or would you think that does it really matter?
Again, that's getting into the colour psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly you don't see many homes full of reds and oranges. So they always seem to be the pastel colours, the camp colours. Like for a wee while there, it was the greys. And now it's getting into like the cream colours and just the clear pastel colours as opposed to the in-your-face colours.
We have lots of grey and silver in our house, but that's just what we like.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's really, really interesting. And if I was to put someone in a room that was red, for instance, you would see that person getting quite agitated.
Yeah, you would just see them building up, and until they explode. So you can imagine putting a hyperactive kid in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just go into meltdown mode. If you've got everything where it's nice and calm, then the kids feel it as well. Kids, they're a lot more sensitive than what we are.
Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing lots and lots with colour over the next year anyway, because Susan, as you know, Susan's doing a massive, very lengthy course on colour and light therapy.
Yeah, I've been watching that with great interest.
Yeah, so you and Susan, when you are in, work next door to each other in the rooms adjacent to each other. So I'm absolutely sure that John and Susan are going to be playing around with the colour lighting and all of that kind of stuff that Susan's got.
Yeah.
And she's actually also got a colour acupuncture pen as well. So,
I've seen that as well, yeah.
That will be really fascinating to watch how the light, as it moves through that into the energy centres in the body, changes. So yeah. I'm really excited to see what happens with all that. I'm like,
it just opens up a whole new game, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny because way back, I always remember what Teresa's saying there, that the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre does a course linked to lighting. That's interesting.
Yeah. I believe Antra Hearn, she has a similar kind of aura system. And I believe she works with colour as well.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Anne's got the same system as you or if it's the older system. I'm not quite sure.
The one she's got,
yeah. But I suppose they all work the same, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. When I was doing a bit of research for my own, I did see the one that Anne had, and it showed you some of the photos, and it was remarkable to see.
Yeah.
It showed you a photo of a gentleman, his arm amputated, but in the photo you could see the energy of the rest of his hand, his fingers. It was quite amazing.
I'll need to send Dan a wee message and just ask her what system she uses. I don't know if Anne's doing that kind of work anymore, actually. Don't know.
I think the last I read, she was doing a lot of work with her book.
Yeah. Anne, if you're watching, let us know, even if it's afterwards, because Anne does sometimes watch our surgeries.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the very first Bora photo I got was Thelma Francis down at Stansted. And that was was captured then with the whole aura thing.
Yeah. Does Thelma do aura photography as well?
She does, yeah. She's done it for, well, that was years ago. I'd mine done, but yeah.
I remember it was the old Carleon photography.
Yeah.
I can't remember who done it, but you know, you're talking at least about 20 years ago. And when I seen it, I was like, my God, you know, it was this huge, big piece of kit. And you had to sit in this like black box with curtains all around it. And it's nice to see how the technology's advanced, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't think I could have carted all that stuff about either.
No.
It's so easy just putting it in a wee case and
yeah,
that's it.
And what do you think the future is with energy sensing technology?
Well, the latest one is, as far as I'm aware, is the 3D one that I have just now, and I know they're working on expanding on it that bit more as well.
Interesting.
I know the one I've got where I've got the apps in it where I'm able to, I can work with like cats and dogs.
Yeah.
So I've asked them, well, what about horses and other animals? They're doing a wee bit of work in that. Obviously, where I live, it's the same yourself, there's lots of horses about and lots of places you could go and visit. And
interesting.
Horses have got fascinating energy as well.
Yeah. So you could be working with or see more work with animals then? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah. And interestingly as well, I was reading an article about a headband that you can get as well. So it's a band that goes around the head that measures the brain activity as well as the electrodermal activity, and it gives a more accurate I don't know, output.
Yeah.
So this guy's sitting and he's got the band around his head, he's got the sensor on his forehead, he's got his left hand on a sensor, his right hand on a sensor, and he's got his feet on a sensor. So it's basically measuring all the
flow of the energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be something to see as well.
I think it's like a copper-looking plate. I'm sure if you Google it, you'll be able to find, you know, like all over body energy detection. I don't know what you would call it, but
I have seen where mediums they go and get tested by universities and such, and they've got the plate on and measuring the brainwaves.
I've done that many times. I've done it. One of my friends works in a neuroscience lab in Edinburgh, in the university, and he's asked me quite a few times to go in so they can like investigate and have a good look inside what's happening inside my brain. And it's really fascinating. See watching it, like they obviously they understand the output. I would never understand it looking at it, but they understand what's going on. And he's always like, do you know your brain? It's such a delicious thing to look at. Right? I think it's just because they can see how different it is from other people's.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating, isn't it? It really is. James is saying there, I'd love to try aura photography. It would be interesting to see the difference before, after meditation or Reiki. I know with my body, when my body temp goes through the roof when I'm given Reiki, so we'd love to record the temperature. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Diane, do you think the future illness will be diagnosed from the reading of the aura? Do you think in the future illness will be diagnosed from reading of the aura?
Yeah. That's a kind of touchy subject. Me personally, off the record, you can look in and see imbalances, and you can see where you can go that bit deeper and look at people's illnesses if you want. It's just right now UK law just doesn't permit that.
Yeah,
and it's
we are moving into the age of energy medicine as well, you know. So
yeah.
I believe in the next 200 years or so, we'll start looking at how energy affects, and I think that a lot of things will be worked on with energy medicine, don't you?
Yeah, certainly with the system that I've got in America, practitioners use it. They'll use it for diagnosing and finding things going wrong in people. And certainly for myself, I've had a couple of experiences with a couple of good feedback from people. And one lady that I know reckons I saved her life, but she came for an aura reading, and all I gave her was an energy imbalance and just advised her to go and see a doctor. And it turns out she had to get a kidney removed because there was a tumour on the kidney.
Jeez, oh.
So it is that powerful. It's just now we're not doctors, so we can't, as you know, we can't diagnose, we can't prescribe.
Absolutely, yeah.
We can only give a bit of guidance.
It's really fascinating, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always find it really funny because, you know, like all those years ago, you know, like your thing was mediumship, you know, and then I remember when you started getting into like working with the aura, I was like, oh, John, this is fascinating. Like, it's so cool. Yeah. And now you're like the aura expert. It's great.
Yeah, it's taken me a few years to get my head around it and understand it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because you're still learning. Every single time I take the system out, I get something new.
Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about it, though, isn't it? That you're always learning. You know, we're always learning. All of us.
No, I remember the days where I'm a medium and that's it. I wasn't interested in auras. I wasn't interested in chakras, colours.
I know, it's so funny because like I always remember having a conversation with you, and you'd said, I was like, so what do you think about this and that and chakras and all the rest of it? But the way that we were, I suppose, I don't want to say trained because we weren't trained, but we were shown how to use our craft, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it was very much like, you know, just work with the spirit world. And you and I both had that same mentality of crystals, really? Auras, really? And it's funny to see how we've both developed and changed through experience, I suppose.
It's just opening your mind to all possibilities, and it's understanding the spirit world use all these things as well.
Yeah, and I think since moving away from that, because obviously I'm not going to speak about the religious part of it, or our memberships, or
Yeah,
or training or anything like that. But when we've moved away from that side of things, I think it's actually enhanced my mediumship.
I'm finding that too. Yeah,
Just because I suppose it's like if you've got very singular thinking and singular vision, how on earth are you able to see everything?
exactly.
If you're only looking one way.
Yeah, because you're stuck in this box for years,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden the sides have come down, and you're just out exploring. It's like a kid with new toys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I just love it.
Yeah,
Zoe is saying there as well, when John let the kids listen to music, they loved and then listened to the music they didn't like while connected to the aura machine. It was fascinating the difference it made of the auras. I think Zoe's saying when you let the kids listen to the music they loved.
yeah. We did a workshop up in Zoe's a few years back now, and we get the kids involved in it, and the kids just love getting involved. They just weren't too keen sitting on the system.
So they didn't like sitting on the system, but they liked watching it.
Yeah, they like getting involved in it all and working in each other's energy.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's just amazing the innocence of the kids when we got them all just to come together and just to blend their energy. So in a way they were giving healing as well.
And do you think in the future that because what I would love the system to be able to do is like pick up the electrodermal activity in a room, rather than putting your hand on the sensor. I would love to be able to like focus the camera on an area and watch what's happening in that area.
Yeah. I did that once actually. I was up working on Aberdeen in D Street Church. So I was doing a workshop. So I set the system up, had the screen going and just left it there. And all of a sudden the energy started working.
Oh, so you can actually do that then?
Yeah.
Ah.
It was accidental, but it started work. The energy started working on the system. And I think, what's going on here? But I just let it run.
Do you know what's really funny? See, last night when we speak about energy as well, last night I'd finished all my work, went out, took a bin outside to the wheelie bin, and when I was going back in, I'd heard like a, I don't know, like a ball rolling noise, and I turned round, and coming up the garden path, there was one of the kids' balls, and it was just rolling towards me. And I'm standing there going, it stopped right in front of my feet. And I'd actually tried to film it, but I couldn't film it. I only got a photograph because it stopped before I could. And I was showing the family, and they were all like, "Oh my God, that's scary." So would you think like that the spirit world or the energy of the universe can move things as well?
Oh, I believe so, aye. Yeah. And I feel that's how the spirit world work as well, is they know better than us how to manipulate the energy.
Yeah.
They know everything's vibrating. So they'll manipulate that energy and move it from one place to another.
Yeah.
And when they're winding us up, it's what they do.
I know. I just find it really funny.
Yeah. It's amazing after all these years too, but we still get excited about these things.
Yeah, I know. I love it when things move because I always, I'm always very mindful of the fact that there's expansion and like the temperature change can make things move. Little currents of air can make things move. All of that kind of stuff. But when you remove all those things and think, how did that move like that in that way? There wasn't a breath of wind outside yesterday, and it's no a ball that would move on its own.
No, I think you feel it, don't you?
Yeah.
You feel the energy in the air.
Yeah. So to make something move, you need kinetic energy.
Yeah.
You need some kind of force that moves that, and there was nothing that could have moved it. No. Which is interesting. James is asking there, what would you suggest is the best crystal for focus? I'm struggling to meditate for any length of time just now, despite enjoying doing it and wanting to go deeper, but the tracks are driving me nuts just now. My advice to that, James, would be, I don't know what John's thinking is on it, but we don't need to meditate for any length of time.
No.
2 minutes of meditation is actually probably just as beneficial as 1 hour's worth of meditation. So, trying to sit there and meditate for long periods of time is really, really no very good. That would drive me insane.
I tend to fall asleep.
Yeah. My daily practice of meditation is 10 minutes at the very maximum. And my meditation is purely and simply, I've been teaching meditation now for 23 years, and my meditation practice is focus on my breath in, hold it, focus on my breath out. Focus on my breath in, bring my shoulders down, just relax in every single part of the body. Done. So would you agree with that, John?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I find myself I can't go into long, deep, meaningful meditations. I just can't do it. And the way we are, our minds are too busy. There's too much going on and they're far too nosy.
Absolutely.
And if it's just connecting with the spirit world, I'll just sit and just invite them in, and they do the work they need to do.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because I was speaking to a friend a few weeks back, and they actually they do a form of Buddhist meditation, and he was telling me how he'd done a 2.5 hour meditation. I was like, oh my God, that's my ideal of friggin' hell. I could not imagine sitting there for 2.5 hours. And he's like, no, but it's just, I'm just being aware. I'm in the moment. I'm like, my God, stay in your moment. I didn't want to be there. But I suppose everybody.
Exactly. I mean, for me, it'd be 2 hours. I would never get back.
I would be sleeping. I genuinely would be sleeping. So yeah, that's us at just over an hour. Actually, would you believe? It's always a quick day. John, we'll definitely be back next week anyway. John will be back next week. So if you do have any questions on the aura, on energy, please do ask away. Or you can send us your questions beforehand and we can put them across to John. Tomorrow on our surgery, we have got the very lovely James. So James is on tomorrow, James is a life coach. And quite an inspiring guy. Everybody always loves surgeries with James. He's really upbeat and so you'll see James tomorrow dancing to "I Am Here" by Pink first thing in the morning. So yeah, John, thank you so much for today.
No, it's been a pleasure as always.
And everybody else, have an absolutely phenomenal day, whatever you're doing. And remember, be mindful of your energy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Always invest in yourself.
Yeah. So have a great day, guys, and I am going to go for now. And John, stick around. I will have a wee chat with you before we go. See you later,
folks.
Bye.
Strong.